Cities don't usually change the way people picture them changing. Most of us imagine decline as something sudden and dramatic, a day when the streets go quiet, stores stay shuttered, and the hum of life finally gives way to stillness. A clear line between before and after, a point where something has obviously gone wrong. But cities almost never lose their footing in that dramatic way. What vanishes first is far quieter, far more subtle, and almost no one notices it while it's happening, or for a long time after. Neighborhoods still wake up every morning the same way. Cars ease out of driveways as the sky shifts from black to pale gray, engines murmuring softly. Headlights brush across dew-covered grass, cutting through the last wisps of night mist. Traffic gathers slowly, a familiar tide moving along streets worn smooth by decades of repetition. Intersections breathe red and green in steady cycles, short pauses before the current continues. Shops open their doors, warm interior light spilling onto cold sidewalks, faint scent of fresh coffee drifting out. Customers enter at their own pace, footsteps quiet on floors that have seen generations of feet. People stand at shelves, fingers trailing over packages, eyes scanning labels with quiet focus. Checkout counters gather small clusters, low voices crossing back and forth. Conversations drift across aisles, remarks about the cold front coming, the weekend game, the new cafe down the block. Homes come alive as evening settles in, windows brightening to gold against deepening blue. Families sit together at tables, voices rising and falling, dishes passing hand to hand, smell of home cooking filling the rooms. Light pours from porches onto sidewalks as night arrives, soft shadows stretching long across the pavement. Televisions glow behind curtains, evening stories playing at a familiar, comfortable volume. Parks come to life on weekends, runners breathing hard in crisp air, picnics unfolding under trees. Children run across open grass, swings swaying in steady rhythm, slides ringing with high-pitched joy. Dogs race in wide arcs, owners calling them back with easy voices, leashes swinging loose. Paths fill with walkers, some alone, some in pairs, air cool, leaves rustling softly underfoot. Benches hold people reading, talking softly, or simply sitting, letting the day pass by in quiet observation. From the outside, everything remains whole. Routines fit together without friction. Days flow into one another without noticeable breaks. Nothing looks different from last year or the year before. The same reliable pulse continues, holding everything in place, reinforcing the sense that things are still holding. At first glance, nothing seems wrong. That's the trap. People expect the first sign of trouble to be visible and concrete. An empty building on a main street, windows dark and boarded. A closed storefront that once felt permanent, sign still hanging but door locked for good. A neighborhood that suddenly sounds quieter than it should, fewer voices on the sidewalk. A parking lot with more empty spaces than cars, weeds beginning to push through cracks. A school bus route that suddenly runs less frequently, fewer children waiting at stops. Those are the signals we're conditioned to notice. They're how problems are supposed to announce themselves. Clear, immediate, impossible to miss. But that's not how long-term change actually begins. The first thing cities lose is not people. It's momentum. Momentum is not growth. Momentum is renewal. It's the steady arrival of new households, new families enrolling children in local schools, new workers anchoring themselves locally, opening bank accounts, signing leases, new long-term plans being formed and committed to, mortgages, businesses, community involvement. When momentum fades, life continues, but replacement slows. Renewal becomes thinner. Transitions stretch out. What leaves is no longer matched at the same pace by what arrives. This shift is almost invisible because it happens inside averages. Population numbers still look stable on paper. Employment still looks healthy in broad statistics. Tax revenue still appears sufficient in quarterly reports. But underneath those aggregates, the structure changes. Fewer young households arrive to offset aging ones. Fewer children replace graduating classes year after year. Fewer first-time buyers replace long-term owners at the same rate. Fewer new workers plant roots that tie them to the local economy for decades. The system still functions, but with less elasticity. That loss of elasticity matters more than most people realize. Cities are built on replacement cycles. They assume turnover. They assume renewal. They assume that every departure is eventually balanced by an arrival. Schools plan based on projected enrollment, not just current attendance. Infrastructure assumes a certain number of new users each year. Local businesses rely on first-time customers, not just regulars. Municipal budgets are built on expectations of continuity, not contraction. When momentum slows, those assumptions weaken quietly. Not enough to cause immediate failure, but enough to cause hesitation. Projects get delayed. Expansions become smaller. Hiring slows without announcements. Long-term investments are postponed rather than canceled. No one calls this decline. They call it caution. And caution spreads faster than collapse. Once institutions begin acting defensively, the system tightens. Risk tolerance drops. Planning horizons shorten. Decisions that once felt safe now feel uncertain. This is how cities begin operating in maintenance mode. They stop asking what they could become. They focus on holding what they already have. Individual decisions accumulate in private. Remote work expands options gradually. Costs rise without triggering immediate crisis. Family conversations change tone over time. Long-term plans are reconsidered quietly, often late at night. One household researches alternatives over months. Another weighs trade-offs in careful detail. A third decides the future here feels less certain than it once did. These decisions are rarely emotional. They are practical. They are defensive. They are framed as flexibility, not escape. We can always come back. We're just trying something different. We're keeping our options open. But return rates are far lower than people expect. Once households re-anchor elsewhere, socially, professionally, educationally, inertia works in the opposite direction. Children start new schools. Careers align locally. Social circles reform. Momentum is hard to rebuild once it leaves. There is no sudden exodus. No coordinated movement. No visible gaps at first. Just a subtle change in trajectory. This is where assumptions stop working. Human perception is tuned to sudden absence. An empty parking lot on a weekday stands out. A long-standing business closing registers immediately. A playground unusually quiet sparks concern. But gradual thinning doesn't trigger alarms. It blends into routine. It hides inside averages and expectations. It disguises itself as normal variation. Momentum fades long before emptiness appears. The data confirms this pattern quietly. Census Bureau Vintage 2025 estimates show overall U.S. population growth at roughly 0.8 to 1%, driven mainly by international migration and modest natural increase. Domestic movement remains directional. High-cost coastal states like California, New York, and Illinois continue to see net outflows of 150 to 250,000 residents per year toward lower-cost regions. Southern and interior states still gain population, but growth rates have slowed to 1 to 2% in many metros after peaking much higher during the pandemic years. School enrollment patterns echo the shift early. National enrollment stabilizes around 49 to 50 million students. Regional data shows flattened growth or 1 to 3% declines in select districts across coastal, Midwestern, and interior regions. Housing markets reflect similar moderation. Days on market extend gradually in certain areas without sharp crashes. Search behavior shifts quietly. Outbound moving patterns rise steadily rather than spiking. Across regions, the story is consistent. Coastal metros remain active. Downtowns stay busy. Hybrid work, tourism, and cultural events keep streets full. Legacy cities in the Midwest and Northeast continue functioning normally. Parks are maintained. Shops stay open. Community traditions persist even as demographics age. Sunbelt gainers still grow, but more slowly. Construction continues. Schools remain open. Yet long-term residents quietly reassess costs, insurance, and sustainability. No region shows empty streets as the starting point of decline. Change begins beneath the surface, layer by layer, over years, not months. The cumulative effects emerge later. In school funding, in service planning, In infrastructure decisions? In who stays long enough to invest in the future? By the time the shift becomes visible, momentum has already moved elsewhere. This is why cities don't lose people first. They lose momentum. Earlier in this series, we looked at why population decline never starts with empty streets. Tomorrow, we examine why schools react long before headlines do, and why classrooms reveal change earlier than anything else. This is Urban Bird.